What's up, Rainbow Six fans? This is 3P, and today I'm bringing you the first episode of my series, Operation Preference. So, the way this series works is I will have all the operators in all of their CTUs pitted against each other on attack or defense. So, for example, in one episode, I would have the SAS defenders, Mute versus Smoke, and then the next episode, I would have the SAS attackers, Sledge versus Thatcher. So, what I'll be doing is going over their weapons, primaries, and secondaries, and their abilities. So, for weapons, I will be going over their primaries against each other if they don't all have the same primaries, which a lot of operators don't. And then I will do the same exact thing for their secondaries if they have differing secondary weapons. Then, second, I will be going over their secondary equipment, which is like nitro cells, deployable shield, barbed wire, impact grenades, things of that nature to see how they stack against each other in that category. Third, I'll be going over their special abilities. So again, for example, on the SAS on defense, we have Smoke, who throws his canisters, or Mute, who puts down his mute jammers. I will be giving up to 3 points for every one of those categories, with the exception of their special ability. I will be giving them up to 5 points for that category. Then at the end, I will pit these scores against each other and see who comes out on top. So, without any further ado, let's get right into episode number 1. For our first episode, we have the SAS attackers pitted against each other, Sledge and Thatcher. Let's start off with Sledge. So Sledge, his primary weapons are the L85A2 and the M59-0A1, which is a shotgun. Both Sledge and Thatcher use it, and since I don't really see people use it too often, I'm not really going to go over that. The L85A2 is an assault rifle. It does 45 damage, has a 670 fire rate, 31 round capacity, and pretty low recoil, I must say. Thatcher has both the weapons that Sledge does, but in addition, he has the AR-33, which does 42 damage, has a 749 fire rate, but only a 26 round capacity, but also with very low recoil. Personally, I prefer the AR-33 to the L85. It does very minimally less damage, but has a higher fire rate, and I would argue that it has more controllable recoil. The L85 is still a pretty good gun, however. I'm going to give 3 points to Thatcher for the AR-33, and 2 points to Sledge for not having the AR-33, but he's got the L85. Moving on to secondaries. Sledge has the pistol as well as Thatcher, but Sledge also has the SMG-11, which does 32 damage, has 17 capacity, a 1270 fire rate, which is the highest in the game, but also really high recoil. But some would argue that this is the best gun in the game. Thatcher does not have the SMG-11, but the P226 Mark 25 does do 53 damage, which is a lot of damage, and some people still use that pistol when using Sledge, but you're forced to use it when you play as Thatcher. It's still a pretty strong pistol though, 53 damage is a lot. So I'm going to give 2 points to Thatcher, but 3 definitely go to Sledge for having the SMG-11. Moving on to gadgets. So Sledge has frag grenades and stun grenades, whereas Thatcher has a breaching charge and a claymore. Different people would argue that all 4 of these are the best gadget in the game. Personally, if I'm not using someone like Sledge or Buck, I'm using a breach charge. So personally, I think breach charge is the best in the game. But claymores are super useful. Some people are really good with frag grenades, and some people are really tactical with stun grenades. But I think that with the breaching charge, it gives you a little more viability. You can breach a floor and shoot through it, or breach a wall, or breach a barricade, breach a castle barricade. I know you can break some of this stuff with grenades, but a breach charge is a lot more precise and ultimately more versatile. So I'm going to give 3 points to Thatcher because he also has a claymore, which is really good for protecting your back if you're just running lone wolf. So 3 points to Thatcher, 2 to Sledge. Finally, on to abilities. Sledge's ability is the breaching hammer, which if you don't know, it's more or less like a breaching charge that you can just use instead of a breaching charge, and you can use it up to 25 times. You can hit it on the floor, castle barricades, normal barricades, unreinforced walls. It's a really useful ability. Thatcher, on the other hand, has an EMP grenade, which will take out cameras, Valkyrie cameras, Echo's yokai drone, mute jammers, bandit traps. It'll take out Jaeger's ADS, it'll take out entry denial devices. Pretty much anything that's electronic, it'll take it out. This is incredibly useful when you're playing on most maps, when you need to get into a lot of different areas and you can't because you don't have a twitch, or you can't take out the electronics like a mute or a bandit, so you can't get into a reinforced wall, even with thermite or Hibana. It's really useful. There isn't really anything else to compare between these two operators. They're both 2-speed, 2-armor operators, so let's tally up the points and see what we have. So, the final tally is 10 for Sledge and 13 for Thatcher, which means overall, Thatcher is a more useful operator than Sledge. Ultimately, there isn't really anything wrong with Thatcher. His primaries are really good, his pistol is really good, his gadgets are very effective, and his ability is incredibly effective. Thatcher is definitely one of the better operators in the game, so it's no surprise that he came out on top here. He got almost every single point that he could have. Like I said, Thatcher comes out on top, and that is going to be it for this week's episode of Operation Preference. Next week's episode will be between the SAS Defenders, Mute, and Smoke. If you guys want to see a certain set of operators pitted against each other next after that, let me know in the comments below, and I will definitely take your recommendations. But that's going to be it for this week's episode of Operation Preference. Make sure to stay tuned for next week's episode. And this has been 3P with a Rainbow Six video, and I will catch you next time. Let's roll the damn credits.